Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today I give you your story titled, Fiancée Cheats on Me with a Friend That Introduced Us. And a shout out to Max for sending this story. And guys, this story is about a guy, he's 27 years old, who handles things like a boss. Upon finding out this fiancée, a gal he's been with for 4 years, not only is cheating on him, but cheating on him with a friend of his, a so-called friend, who introduced them together. Yeah, and actually there's a lot more to it, which you'll discover as I go through the story here. And it's a perfect example, guys, of how even if a guy can be deeply in love with a gal, when he sees who she really is, can handle things and look at things in the big picture and handle things right. And this guy does just that, even though his whole world feels like it's imploding here. I'll be going to go over here to show you that, as well as, for goodness sake, guys, sadly, you can't trust anybody in this world, even your so-called friends and the gals you think you're going to marry and all that. It's quite crazy here. But, you know, our guy's going to be okay. So, it starts off, says here, hey there, I'm a 27-year-old male and was engaged to Shay, a 29-year-old female, for a year. Dating for 2 years and friends for a year. Smack! Engaged after 2 years, that's crazy. But he dodged a big one, as you're about to see. All in all, she's been in my life for the past 4 years or so. I met her through one of my best friends at the time, Sam, a 27-year-old male, who I've known since my school days. So to start this off, of how I was introduced to Shay, was during our yearly planning for EDC, in which Sam had told me he had one more person he would like to bring, so we could make sure that we had the right amount of tickets. Okay, I don't know what EDC is. Maybe some of you guys know. I haven't Googled it yet. I'm sure I certainly can Google it, but I haven't. So you can let me know in the comments section if you know what the hell EDC is. I immediately thought that he had finally found a girl for himself, but he waved me off saying that he thought that I would really like her, and he thought we would really hit it off with a wink at the end. Well, here we go. Friends fixing up other friends with girls. So he introduces me to her a few weeks before the trip, and I would say that there was an initial attraction, the kind you get where you want to introduce her to your mother, but she was gorgeous, funny, similar interests. However, she didn't seem very interested in me in that way, or at least that was the vibe I got. Okay, this is important, guys. He liked her, a lot of things about her, but he wasn't quite feeling it, at least her attraction towards him. It's important. Trust your gut. Anyway, fast forward a couple months, and me and Shay start hanging out by ourselves, and she even introduces me to her friend circle. After about a year of this, Sam informs me his job promotion that he was getting required him to move across the country, and that he was going forward with it. I was sad that he was moving, but he would keep in touch, and we plan on taking trips yearly like usual. Okay. Sam's leaving, but now it's just our guy here telling the story, and Shay, who has become like the girl he hangs out with, who he, up until this point, never got any kind of feeling she had anything for him. Almost within 24 hours of this news, Shay pulled me aside and said that she had developed feelings for me over the last year and couldn't handle keeping it any longer, and she was just worried that I didn't feel the same way. How interesting, about the same time that Sam's leaving, Shay all of a sudden magically has feelings for this guy. Guys, when girls like you, of any age, it's obvious. So if all of a sudden this is coming out of nowhere, like a light switch, snap of a finger, it's like, huh? Well, I was shocked as I couldn't even sense a change in her attitude towards me. Like I would imagine I would catch her looking at me more often and trying to get my attention, but nothing. Well, dude, there's something to that. I didn't really care though. To me, it was bad news and good news leveling out the world. I immediately told Sam about the news, and this is where I really didn't understand the reaction that I got from him. He seemed shocked about it, dismissive even, asking me things like, "Are you sure that's what she said?" And after about 10 minutes, he said he was happy for me and that it's about time we got together. Well, again, how interesting that the Sam character is like, are you sure that's what she said? Well, we'll come back to that later. Well, the next 3 years are pretty uneventful when it comes to the cheating stuff. But during this time, Shay and I grew so attached to each other that I couldn't imagine life without her. Smack! Come on, dude. That's the shit nice guys and simps say. Not strong men, alpha men, that type of thing. And I know you have it in you. And that shows you're obviously way more into her than she is into you. And that's never a good place to be. Your girl shouldn't be your whole world. And you can't imagine life without her. For goodness sake almighty. But these young guys gotta learn, don't they? We moved in with each other, and we were the couple that our families would idolize. Her sisters would make jokes that how I looked at Shay was how their husbands and boyfriends looked at their Xboxes. Whenever Shay was away from town, either visiting family or going on work-related overnight assignments, she would FaceTime me until we fell asleep, and I would be woken up by the sound of her snoring through the phone in the morning, and she would hate it. And when I teased her by calling her my alarm clock, I was truly happy. So, this guy seems like a good guy. It's like he has no reason to really doubt her. It seems like she's really into him. I had proposed to her during one of our family get-togethers for Thanksgiving, which she accepted. When she said yes, I don't think there was a way to feel any more joy than I did at that moment. And I rode that feeling for about another year or so. You proposed too soon, dude. Smack! God's sakes. Then in our group chat, Sam announced that he was now single. Uh-huh. How interesting. The girl he had been dating since moving away had broken up with him. At the time, I felt so bad for him because he was the guy that always looked out for me, even set me up with a woman I thought I was going to marry and live out my life loving. It felt like things were unfair for him, honestly. But things hit the fan when we had our next yearly vacation. When planning our trip, we usually just got one big Airbnb for the EDC vacation and just split the cost, but this year Sam wanted to get his own place, which I understood, which he could leave at any time. If he wasn't enjoying himself, and if he found someone to bring back, that they could have some privacy. But things with Shay almost 180'd as soon as she saw Sam. Huh. Amazing timing here. Sam suddenly is single, and she sees him for the first time in a long time, and boom. What a coincidence. Except I don't believe in coincidences. She would hardly look at me and was always hovering around him. It felt like how she treated me before we had started dating. Throughout the day, I was just a bit confused and shocked. Things just weren't right. I was telling myself that they're just good friends, or we're just good friends, and she was trying to comfort him because she knew that he just got out of a serious relationship. You see how guys can completely just delude themselves and convince themselves of anything, because even though the obvious truth, the reality is just right in front of them, but I can kind of understand that. I'm sure a lot of you can too, because in his mind, he's had no reason not to trust her. She seems totally into him, and he's happy and all that. And of course, this is his bro. Well, why would he suspect his bro? After about 5 minutes, I got a text from her. Skipped a part. But then came the first night. I noticed both of them weren't at the house, and they were missing. So I called her to see what was going on, and she sent me to voicemail, and in the 3 years of officially being together, she had never sent me to voicemail. So before I start getting in my own head and panicking, I asked around if anybody knew where she was, and if she might not have been able to answer the phone, but neither my friends nor hers knew anything. Again, all these signs. Well, after about 5 minutes, I got a text from her reading, "Sorry, babe, couldn't answer the phone. It's an emergency with my mom and had to leave. I wish I had just thought about the situation and not been an idiot, but I instantly went into protect and comfort mode. I said something to her like, OMG, I hope it isn't serious. We can leave and fly out ASAP. She said there wasn't any need for that, as she was already on the way and that Sam was taking her up to go see her. Oh, I'm sure Sam was taking care of her all right. Fucking scumbag. Now, in hindsight, there are so many red flags and obvious lies, but at the time, I had the girl that I loved, and that couldn't sleep if I wasn't present in some way, and the guy I'd known basically my whole life to introduce me to her, tag teaming me on how everything is fine and this is normal behavior. Another thing, guys, you don't want to believe the people that you've known for a while, or people you're close to, you think care about you, would screw you over. You know, nobody wants to believe that. You can't blame anybody for that, but still, it's all in front of him. After about 1 hour, the group chat goes off, and with an alert, and I opened up, and there's a picture of them kissing, saying, "You were right, old flames don't die." Then the spam comes in the group chat saying, "Delete this," or "Wrong chat," hundreds of times by some of her friends. And everything goes silent in the house, and everyone just starts looking at me. They're freaking taking pictures of themselves making out and putting it in the group chat, and oops, forgot that this dude's in the group chat. Oops, shit, delete this. What the fuck? This poor guy. Because this is a good guy. Well, my mind was racing trying to rationalize what I just saw. I made up the most ridiculous explanations, like someone photoshopped it and hacked her account, or that it was some camera filter thing just made it look like they were kissing. Smack! Okay, dude, this is getting ridiculous. It's obvious. I'm sorry, but it's obvious. I had a screenshot and I was examining the fingers on the hands to see if it was an AI photo. But eventually I had to accept reality about what was going on. It was probably intended for a specific friend that she had been talking about this with, and she accidentally sent it to the group chat. As soon as the photo was deleted by Shay, she called asking if I was okay, and if I had seen the picture that got deleted in the group chat. I played dumb and asked her, "What picture? Did you send me something?" She said she didn't and was just wondering what the picture was before it got removed, and it wasn't a big deal, just to forget about it. Clever of him to play it cool, play dumb. What picture? I didn't see any picture. To see what she'd say. Fucking snake. Shay then informed me she was just checking in, but was tired, so she was going to go, followed by the "I love you." I couldn't bring myself to respond and just ended the phone call. I wasn't sure what to do, but I knew I needed to leave. So I got up and left with some people giving me a "that's messed up" or "sorry bro" as I walked out the door. Yeah, this poor guy. Remember, this is his bro he's known since he was a kid, betraying him, who introduced him to this chick, I might add. And now this girl he's going to marry. But we can say, hey, he dodged a big one. At least he's finding this shit out before he gets married to her. It just sucks he wasted years of his life with her, trusted her, and spent the money on the fucking engagement ring. Well, I ended up flying back home as soon as I could. I had to talk myself out of forgiving her so many times. I wasn't sure what I needed to do, but I knew if I met her face to face again and gave her a chance to explain, I would have taken her back. It's good he knows himself. He's like, nope, I cannot see her because her fucking waterworks are going to manipulate me into taking her back. So I started doing things to avoid seeing her again. I went and got new locks for the house and began packing up all her stuff. I outright owned the place we were living, and she was my wife, so she had no claim to the property. Well, she may have no claim to the property, but she could claim residency, and that could be a problem if he kicks her out, just depending where you live. So I figured I'd move her stuff out and change the locks. I mailed her belongings to her mom's house and was in the process of texting her that we were done when one of her friends sent me information which shed a light on what had happened. Well, this is interesting. I guess isn't she wondering what happened to him? But obviously she's so wrapped up with the friend, Sam, she doesn't care. He goes back home and starts changing the locks, packing up her shit. This is all being done relatively quickly. Apparently, Sam and Shay used to have this weird on-again, off-again dating that they referred to as a toxic cycle. And they were just happy that she finally found someone that made her happy. These friends couldn't have mentioned this to this guy here early on. They're only mentioning him afterwards. So these friends of his aren't really his friends. Well, I cut ties with both of them, and the last message I sent to Shay was letting her know that she no longer lived with me. I was sending her belongings to her mom's house. She could keep the engagement ring, and we were done. Here we go. Here comes the drama. Well, I just told her to keep the ring because I didn't want anything to do with her at that point, and as well as the ring. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to return it. I didn't want the money from selling it. Everything but the ring, that was tainted now. She tried calling me hundreds of times and sent so many texts it felt like I could have made a book out of all of it. She never got mad at me, though, which almost made it worse. She just kept apologizing and saying how dumb she was, and she even blamed her period, saying it was making her emotional and she couldn't think straight. But I just ignored everything. She blamed the cheating on her freaking period. That's a new one. Surprisingly, there was actually radio silence from her end of things for the next couple weeks. Then one day, she just showed up knocking on my door. I'll tell you why he got radio silence for 2 weeks. Because for 2 weeks, or whatever it was, she was hooking up with Sam and rekindling things. That's what was going on. And then Sam probably got bored with her, kicked her out, and here she is on this guy's doorstep. That's just me. That's what I think, given, Well, I didn't go to the door. I just talked to her through my doorbell and asked her what she wants. She begs for me to let her in and just talk to her about what happened. Bitch, get the fuck off my property. I tell her this isn't happening. She breaks down crying, talking about how sorry she was, and that Sam wasn't going to let her stay with him, and she had nowhere else to go. Yep, he's banging the bitch for 2 weeks. He's like, all right, yeah, I'm tired of this old pussy. Get the fuck out of here. And now she's back, begging and pleading, assuming this guy weak enough to take her back. This is where trap doors would be great. That'd be great, like just right at the freaking door. You push a button, somebody goes down a trap door, gets the fuck out. Wherever that trap door may go, who knows? I always wanted a trap door when I was a kid. I was fascinated with trap doors. Ever since Return of the Jedi and Jabba's palace, when he hit that thing and they went down to the Rancor. I'm not saying you need to have a Rancor in your basement or alligators or something, but a trap door to at least get people away from your property would be nice. Anyway, she talked about how we could just forget the past couple weeks and enjoy the rest of our lives together, and it was just a mistake. Hobag Handbook Chapter 8. It's always a mistake. Forget the past couple weeks. Really? I'm supposed to forget that? Easier said than done, sweetheart. After hearing all this, I couldn't contain myself anymore and really educated her on what she did to me. I told her I would never be able to trust her again, or anyone else for that matter, because if she could do this to me, then anybody else could. I told her it isn't just the past couple weeks that are tainted. It's everything. All the memories of cute little quirks she had, and the way she would scratch her nose before sneezing, all the little things that I loved about her were now painful memories that would hurt me every time I thought about them. And this is how guys get R-pilled. This is actually how good guys turn into assholes. Women create assholes. Most of the time. Sometimes you just have assholes being assholes, and they're a bad seed. But this is an example how guys can go do a total 180. I told her that she had hurt me in a way that I didn't think was possible. So I asked her, so you want me to feel like that the rest of my life? But of course, she tried convincing me that the things would be different next time, and we could go back to how things were, and that over time I could love her again. I always come back. Do you think she'd be there on this guy's doorstep if what's his name didn't kick her out? We all know the answer to that. I said maybe that is true, that I could love her again one day, but I don't deserve to have to live day by day next to the girl who shattered my trust and shattered my heart, wondering if today would be that day. And that if she ever actually cared for me in the slightest, she would stop trying and leave. She sat there for another 30 minutes or so crying on my doorstep and eventually left. That's some determination. 30 minutes, that's a long time wailing and sobbing and all that shit in the door. Again, this is where a trap door would come in handy. That's it. I'm going to start a trapdoor business. For all the bachelors out there that have some crazy bitch coming after them, everybody gets a trapdoor in front of the house. It'd be wonderful. Again, where does that trapdoor lead? But we can, in Florida, plenty of alligators around here for the trapdoor. Well, a different member of her family would call every other day, apologizing for Shay and what she did. So at least she was being honest about what things had happened with her family. And no, I didn't forget about Sam. That guy never tried to reach out to me again to apologize or anything. He just left the group chats and I never heard from him again. Honestly, that's good. That guy's a fucking scumbag. Who's worse? Who's worse, guys? The girl he was engaged to or his bro? The bro. But these assholes deserve each other. Well, to this day, I still don't understand why he would invite his fling and then try to get me interested in her just to cheat with her afterwards, and I don't think I will ever know. As for me, I'm doing okay. I still get the urge to call Shay from time to time, but those moments are getting fewer and less intense. The end. So there you go, guys. He handled it like a boss. He fell in love, had his heart shattered, but he still respected himself enough and knew he could never trust her again and sent her packing. And frankly, that dude, I don't know, some people could say that guy deserves an ass kicking. On the other hand, at least that happened before they actually got married, you know? And of course, she comes back, and you know it's because that guy kicked her out. He got sick of her, like before. And why did he fix this guy telling the story up with her? Who knows? We could all go into the psychology behind it, but the point is, he's a scumbag, she's a scumbag, and they can all be miserable together. But you can see, like I said, this is the shit that turns good guys, and I didn't say nice guys, good guys, into assholes. And assholes with a capital A. And I got no problem all guys being a little bit of an a-hole to women, because let's be honest, if they say you're an asshole, you're doing something right. But when they all whine and complain, there's so many jerks out there and all that, well, that's what you create. This is how guys get R-pilled. So anyhow, guys, here you go with this story. And hopefully you can learn from his experience, so you don't have to go through this shit, and you can gain this knowledge not to be taken advantage of. But still, you always have to pay attention. Always, because even your bro, who you thought from childhood, can turn on you. But I also want to point something else out. This girl was doing this to him all these years. All those years she was lying to him. Never mentioned the relationship she had with that guy. And remember how suddenly when he left, all of a sudden, boom, she's interested in this guy? But anyhow, he's got a lot of work to do. I would say take it day by day. Be with the people you know really care. Whoever that may be. Exercise. Focus on your life, your purpose, your grind, all that. And you'll be all right. Absolutely. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. I'm sure you like the video. Share with your friends and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.